Keep watching The Politics every Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern Time on New York Parrot TV, the voice for humanity.
Okay, it looks like my co-host Anthony REVIECCIO is ducking out again. We are starting a little late, and he did not want to wait. He says he has another meeting. We have as our guest today Samantha Zerka, the candidate for the 34th State Senate District, against Natalia Fernandez, our wonderful assemblywoman in the 80th Assembly District. Boy, are we going to have fun today. So let me go into a little Bidenomics since I'm the expert on, wait a minute, what do we got? We got a phone call coming? Nope. Who's this calling me? Nope. Oh, Dion wants to come in. Let me go say to Dion, yes, Dion, come on in. Okay, we'll have Dion Powell substituting again for Anthony REVIECCIO very soon.
And good morning to you too.
Oh, all of a sudden you decided to join me, huh? You didn't want to.
Yes, I figured because you guys are the late crowd, let the early crowd come back in. Good morning, everyone. I apologize for not being here, but I'm sure our loyal viewers know that you're looking at the late crowd. So let me announce now, ladies and gentlemen, it's good to see you. Happy Friday. My name is Professor Anthony REVIECCIO, and I won't be with you for the whole show because as my co-host knows and my producer knows, I have another meeting that I have to attend to. So I'll be leaving the show at 12:45, promptly, unlike other people that are unprompt. Good morning, Robert.
Good morning, Anthony. As I didn't make my proper introduction, I am Robert Press, as you see, political reporter for Parrot TV. And if you noticed our little connection here on Facebook, I put up, instead of Anthony and myself, two faces, I put up the face of our wonderful, lovely guest, Miss Samantha Zerka. Anthony, you know Miss Zerka, don't you?
I believe Miss Zerka, I hope I'm saying her last name right. I normally just call her Samantha. Is the state candidate? Is one of the state candidate? One of the candidates for the state Senate district, the 34th state Senate district. Am I correct?
Correct. And I mentioned the other one, Natalia Fernandez, our wonderful assemblywoman. Well, not yours anymore, since you're in the 78th. But then again, in 2 years, you might be back in the 80th Assembly District because of the assembly.
Bob, I got to slightly, correct you. Yes, I technically live in the 78th. Our organization, Northwest Bronx Democrats, one of our three lies that brings me to this show. Most of our troops and resources, etc., are concentrated in the 80th.
That's right. Well, let's get into our show, Anthony. What's new in Bidenomics? I understand that the stock market's going to plunge again because interest rates are going to go up again soon.
Oh, are we talking Bidenomics before national news? Are we
yes,
talking
we always
Bidenomics
do.
Before a nuclear war?
No, Anthony. We always start with Bidenomics. You know that.
No, I always thought we'd start with national implications like a nuclear war. But if you want to start with Bidenomics, that's fine. What was that you said about rising interest rates? Ladies and gentlemen, how do you like your 401k plan? Doesn't it look wonderful losing 22% a year? Ladies and gentlemen, and Robert, let me apologize to you. Our show, Financial Focus University, is on a slight hiatus for a couple of weeks. We're going to fine-tune it. We're even going to fine-tune the Bob Press Index. Maybe we'll get our producer a sleeping chair so we'll sleep less. And we're going to have it ready to go in a couple of weeks. But I got to tell you, the Bob Press Index is looking very bad. A lot of the stock market is looking very bad. The bond market is actually looking pretty good. Savings accounts, people are running to the bank like the Depression. They're flying over there, and I don't blame them. Why is all of this happening? Well, I can't tell you this week in Bidenomics that any significant events happened, except interest rates went up again, courtesy of the Federal Reserve Board, 75 basis points. Why? Because the Federal Reserve Board whose main purpose is to make sure that we are not in an inflationary status, is, I guess you could say, technically doing their job. With inflation now from 2% a year to close to 12% a year, they believe in their actions that higher interest rates are necessary to make that correction. Of course, when you have absent any fiscal policy or policy that doesn't relate to the other side of that coin, then you have what's pretty much been announced within the last 24 hours. What I mean by that is, I don't know if you're aware of this, but the US dollar is now at its highest mark in correlation to other countries in the course of the last 40 years. So, the average person, me saying that, the average person might say, well, wait a minute, Anthony just said my dollar's strong, right? It can buy more goods and services. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? In a non-inflationary economy, that's absolutely true. In an inflationary economy, your dollar here in the United States is weak as hell. In other countries, it's as strong as hell. So some people say it's because interest rates are too high that now we're seeing a slowdown in the economy. And of course, as we see a slowdown, more people start to lose jobs. And then, of course, the Bob Press Index and other markets even go lower. So, ladies and gentlemen, what's the story about Abenomics this week? Call your financial advisor, get some Pepto-Bismol, have a good conversation.
Well, while we're on the subject of Bidenomics, Joe Biden was at the UN, Anthony. So what did he say to the UN? I'm going to give more money to the Ukraine so those 300,000 Russian troops that are on the border can come in more and invade them. They need more help to Ukraine. What did he say exactly to the UN? By the way, there was a picture of him getting lost in the back of the UN on one of the newspapers.
Yeah. He really had two messages. And I think most people would agree. His first message was actually very much on point. That first message being that he wanted to show that the U.S. was both a predominant and strong in building partners as a global force. And I thought, personally speaking, and most people I talk to agree, that in the first part of his speech, he made that point very clear. The problem is, of course, he went on from there. Yeah. And when he went on, he basically talked about what he believed were the legislative actions he's taken to try to help the United States in various ways. So, for example, he mentioned what he calls the Inflation Reduction Act, which he believes is going to lower inflation. Of course, that will make our dollar stronger, and then it will, of course, make it stronger abroad. And as I turn my back to you for a second, just so you know, I'm, of course, reading our this month's Investment Advisor magazine. It's a magazine that people like me read at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and there's a wonderful article on this current act where, people like me, most people would agree, I think do very little to lower inflation on the whole. So, as he went on, so to answer your question, the first part of his speech I thought was great. As he decided to go on and talk about the policies that he believes is going to help the United States, it wasn't well received.
Well, was that where he threatened Russia about a nuclear war? That if they, sent in nuclear missiles into the Ukraine?
No, that was actually early in the speech when he became strong. And a lot of people were wondering in the beginning of his speech why he came out, so strong about that. And we found out afterwards, of course, the night before, Putin decided, I know how to get out of this. Let me create fake referendums. So if I go to the countries I try to invade, call them neutral, then allow them to vote to see if they want to be in Russia. And if they vote to be, part of Russia, then any quote unquote after effects after that is now called an invasion. So that now gives Putin the ammunition, as he says now, to go all the way in. So I think that's a very interesting concept. So all that happened the night before. So of course now Joe gets up and, you know, he's got to be very strong, which was the first half of his speech.
Well, I don't know, Anthony. It's not looking good. Our Cadillacs are more expensive than Mercedes overseas. A Mercedes becomes cheaper, you know, with all of this because of our dollar being so strong. So why buy an American car that costs more than a better German car or whatever? So, I mean, that's the problem we're having now, right?
One of several. One of several, because, you know, keep in mind, you know, we're supposed to be a global economy, you know, as well as a politically, you know, global ally. So from an economic point of view, not all countries, because every country has to deal with their own, you know, scenario, but most countries are still trying to follow the same rhythm. And that rhythm is higher interest rates. So U.S. aside, you know, higher interest rates can have a good or bad effect on the country that does it. So, you know, and we're finding, for example, some countries don't want to follow that. So I believe it was Brazil, for example. Brazil did just the opposite. Why? Because, you know, they say, look, if we you know, we're in a very low influx right now. So if we make the interest rates higher because the global forces want us to do so, well, it's going to shrink Brazil's economy even more. So, but most countries are trying to be allies and follow with suit. So I think longer term, from an economist point of view, you know, there's going to be a lot of bumpy roads ahead.
So you said that there are going to be less jobs, but yet we still have open borders. So, I mean, and we'll talk about this a little later about what's going to happen here in the Bronx with all of these thousands of immigrants coming in. But let's go over to state news, okay, Anthony? There seems to be now one debate set on Spectrum News between Governor Kathy Hochul and her challenger, Lee Zeldin. Why do you think she doesn't want to debate Lee Zeldin?
You know, there's a saying in politics, it's called the Rose Garden effect. And all things remaining equal, basically what that is let me look cute, pose on camera, take some photo ops, say a few words, get out.
Well, we've seen it here in the Bronx where the Bronx Democratic Party really didn't want to have debates with their candidates like Miguelino Camilo against Gustavo Rivera. Even though Gustavo was the incumbent, they didn't want their challenger, who they had everybody except a few certain Democrats endorsing. I mean, she had more money, she had everything else, but they took a hit on that, really, the Bronx Democratic Party. We see now that Kathy Hochul gave contracts to certain people who gave her donations that cost the state hundreds of millions of dollars. Would that be it, that she doesn't want to have other things brought out that she did? And she's only been in, what, a year, a little more than a year as governor?
So what does that really tell you? That tells you, you know, number one, of course, she's guilty as charged. But that also tells you, number two, that, you know, a lot of these practices, because they're so new, they're not coming from nowhere, right? They got to be coming from somewhere. And I would venture to say they come from your more established demo rights, right? So I don't think you know, so all you really got to do, I mean, you can follow the money, and that's fine, but following the money isn't going to take you to the areas I'm talking about. We're talking about areas of power. And those areas of power are behind her.
We lost you, Anthony.
Can you hear me now?
Okay, yeah, maybe it's the mask. What kind of mask is that? Is that a Popeye mask or what?
No, that's a bat. Yeah, so you can see it.
Oh, it's a Batman mask.
Batman mask.
Okay.
Yeah, and let me give credit where credit is due.
You froze up on us again. All right, well, we're going to move on to the next topic, city politics. Well, we're going to have 13,000 immigrants coming into New York City, or we have them, or whatever. And where are they going to be put? Well, Mayor Adams has announced that Orchard Beach will be one of two sites where there'll be tent cities set up for processing of these immigrants. He says they won't be there more than a few days, a week, whatever. Who knows how long they'll be there living in tents. And you know what? It's cold right now. It's 50-something degrees out, going up to 60. But what happens next week if it goes into the 80s and people want to go to Orchard Beach and enjoy the beach? You know what? You ain't going to be able to, because you're going to be going through these thousands of immigrants that are going to be there. So they're going to be enjoying the beach that you can't. Well, Anthony, are you coming back with us? Nope. I'm going to guess he's off for the day. Then there is other things. I mean, we were hoping to have his Northwest Bronx segment, but my producer will hopefully tell me when he's back. As you see, I'm ad-libbing here. But, we also have to beat up on the Republican Party at times. Ms. Tina Forte has charges against her that she has a soda warehouse, and there were drugs and other things found in there. And there is they have her, they say, on video at the June 6th insertion at the Capitol. And it does not look good for Ms. Forte. Ms. Tina Forte is the Republican candidate in the 14th Congressional District against current Congresswoman Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez. The district has shifted a little. The district now includes Co-op City. It's taken away the middle below Pelham Parkway and has given it to Congressman Richie Torres. And also what was taken away from Richie Torres is part of the South Bronx by Hunts Point and given to Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez. So Richie Torres' district runs from the bottom of the South Bronx up to Riverdale and across to Jacoby Hospital. So we no longer can call Richie Torres South Bronx Richie Torres. We now can call him Congressman Richie Riverdale Torres. All right, that's what I'm going to be calling him. Other people have called him Richie Boom Boom Torres, but it's now Richie Riverdale Torres, the councilman. Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez will now be called, instead of Queens or East Bronx Congresswoman, she still has Scroggs Neck, but she will now be called the South Bronx Congresswoman Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez, or the Co-op City Congresswoman Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez. Her district starts in Queens, runs through Scroggs Neck, Parkchester still, the South Bronx, mirrors along 95 up to Co-op City, and ends at this county line. So, I mean, I don't understand how they made these congressional districts. They're supposed to be compact, not wide and thin, keeping neighborhoods together, not splitting them. But what can I say? Then we have our state Senate races. We have our guest very soon, Ms. Samantha Zerka. She will be coming on. She's running in the 34th State Senate District, which went from Riverdale across to the East Bronx and up into Pelham. It also went down as far as below Parkchester. It had parts of the South Bronx, but that was taken away. It was split in half. The 33rd District, which is Gustavo Rivera's, and I want to congratulate State Senator Gustavo Rivera on winning the general election because he has no opponent. Another person I want to congratulate in winning their election is Congressman Adriano Espaillat. He has no opponent in his election. Also, State Senator Jose Serrano Jr. has no opponent, so I want to congratulate him too. Otherwise, you have various opponents. Now, I want to say, I'm very sorry that we're going to be losing Alessandra Biaggi as a state senator. I don't want to choke on that. But Miss Biaggi decided she didn't want to be a state senator anymore. She wanted to run for Congress, bought a house for $1 million outside the state Senate district in the congressional district she was running, somewhere upstate, somewhere the 17th congressional district, far away from here, above White Plains. And she lost. Not only did she lose, but she lost bad to Congressman Sean Patrick Maloney. Maloney. And you know what? She still wants to make an impact in this next election. State Senator Alessandra Biaggi, our current state senator, who all of a sudden disappeared when she ran for Congress, is endorsing a candidate in the 34th state Senate race. Who is that candidate? The 80th Assembly District Assemblywoman, Natalia Fernandez. And let me just tell you a little story about Natalia Fernandez. During COVID, I went to Natalia Fernandez's office with, can we go to commercial, Mr. Producer? Mr. Producer, can we go to commercial?
Keep watching The Politics every Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern Time on New York Parrot TV, the voice for humanity.
Okay.
In a world where the quality of information available to poorer communities is doctored, tainted, and sometimes regressive, where the words fake news have come to mean other people's opinions, it is vital to rely on news platforms with journalists who have feet on the ground and can report the truth. New York Parrot, a New York-based national and global news outlet, is changing the narratives of media operations. We focus on the news that matters, like self-empowerment, entrepreneurship, finances, health, security, politics, and more. We strive to curb violence, racial and economic discrimination, and to promote peace and socio-economic development of multiculturally diverse world. As we give voice to the people, we also give your business a voice and make it heard. Get your product and services off the ground by advertising on our fast-growing platform. With so much of daily visits to New York Parrot, you can't afford to be invisible to prospective clients on the website they trust the most. Our posts reach millions of people across the New York State and around the world. Advertising on our news site will unlock an audience of thousands of potential customers on your doorstep. New York Parrot is born to prosperously speak tomorrow for the voiceless.
Yeah, okay. Take care, Tony. My co-host is gone for the day. He has other plans. He was going to leave early, so he's gone now. I was in contact with our guest. She will be coming on as soon as she can. So let me continue with what I was saying about Assemblywoman Natalia Fernandez and her office. During COVID, my driver's license expired, and you were able to drive with an expired driver's license. But you know what? After 4 months, I said, I don't want to drive with an expired driver's license anymore. I want my driver's license to work. I tried online. It didn't help. I went to Natalia Fernandez's office. She's the state assemblywoman. Motor vehicle is a state agency. That's why I went to her. And I said, your state, I used to go when I lived in Riverdale to my assemblyman, Jeffrey Dinowitz, if I had a problem with any state problem. And he took care of it. 1, 2, 3, no problem. Well, Assemblywoman Fernandez assigned me somebody, took my information. A week went by, a couple more days went by. I went back in. What's happening? Well, after 2 weeks, I was told, we can't do anything for you, but we'll give you a letter of recommendation, which I still haven't gotten. That was a year ago. Okay, so I'm still waiting for that letter of recommendation, Assemblywoman Fernandez. So what happened was I was at a press conference, told this to one of my friends in the media, and he said, why don't you call the governor's media hotline? Which I did the next day, explained the problem. The governor's hotline put me right through the motor vehicle. Motor vehicle said, hold on a minute, found my motor vehicle, my driver's license application, and in 4 days I got it. You know what? Natalia Fernandez's office stunk. They did not do it. I've heard many other complaints about her office, which I won't go into because I can't confirm them, but I can confirm this one because it happened to me. All right. Her service stinks in the office. Now, Natalia Fernandez had book bag giveaways, right? Certain organizations got book bags and certain organizations didn't. Why? Because, and I'll show you in a second what happened with those book bags. Okay. Here is what happened with the book bags. They are sitting in Natalia Fernandez's office in the front window. You could see them right here. There's book bags and there's a box of book bags. So why didn't certain organizations get these book bags? Because she's not friendly with them. And last night at Community Board 12, Natalia Fernandez was there in person, and she said, oh, I still have book bags in my office. If anybody wants a book bag, just come into my office. Okay, she must have 100 or so book bags still in her office. She also kind of went over the line a little bit talking about the election. She said, I will be your assemblywoman until December 31st of this year because I am running for another office. She didn't say which office, unfortunately. And she said that people, when they go to vote, should look at their ballot and turn it over because there are 4 propositions on the back. Not saying what the propositions were, but that was it. I see my guest is here, Samantha Zerka, candidate for 34th State Senate District. I hope you've been listening to me talk about your opponent and what lousy service she gave me during COVID when I went to her office to try and get her to renew my driver's license. I had to go through the governor's media hotline, got it in 4 days after her office in 2 weeks told me.
Do you know that there is a publishing company that wants to make life easier for you as a writer? This publishing company is called World Inkers Printing and Publishing. We publish in all different languages, and we're looking for writers of all genres, all formats. We're looking for scholars, ghostwriters, playwrights, poets, short fiction, novelists, you name it. We're looking for anybody who is interested in writing and the craft of writing to be in touch with us. You can reach us at info.worldinkers@gmail.com. With World Inkers Printing and Publishing, you do not require a lot of money to publish with us. Contact us today at info.worldinkers@gmail.com. Become a winner with other authors at World Inkers Printing and Publishing. Give us a shot. We will surely finish you.
In a world where the quality of information available to poorer communities is doctored, tainted, and sometimes regressive, where the words fake news have come to mean other people's opinions, it is vital to rely on news platforms with journalists who have feet on the ground and can report the truth. New York Parrot, a New York-based national and global news outlet, is changing the narratives of media operations. We focus on the news that matters, like self-empowerment, entrepreneurship, finances, health, security, politics, and more. We strive to curb violence, racial and economic discrimination, and to promote peace and socio-economic development of multiculturally diverse world. As we give voice to the people, we also give your business a voice and make it heard. Get your products and services off the ground by advertising on our fast-growing platform. With so much of daily visits to New York Parrot, you can't afford to be invisible to prospective clients on the websites they trust the most. Our posts reach millions of people across the New York State and around the world. Advertising on our new site will unlock an audience of thousands of potential customers on your doorstep. New York Parrot is born to prosperously speak tomorrow for the voiceless.
Welcome back. I hope my guest is still with me. There we are. I want to apologize to you, Samantha, and to our viewers, because we do have normally a mid-break commercial. Unfortunately, I called for it a little earlier when Anthony got cut off and left. So let me introduce our guest, Samantha Zerka, candidate for the 34th State Senate. And please introduce yourself and tell us why you're running.
My name is Samantha Zerka. I'm candidate for New York State Senate District 34. I'm running because, to start with, I'm a daughter of parents who suffered at the hands of communist Albania. Communism and socialism is not intended for our country in a great democracy as ours and in a great democracy as our state. I'm a Bronx-born girl, born in the Bronx, never left the Bronx. I live in Throgs Neck for 32 years. I'm a mother. I'm a small business owner first. I'm a public advocate. I fight, insurance companies for homeowners and businesses every single day. I'm a mother of 3 children. I'm a wife of a lifelong Nicholas for 33 years. And I'm sick and tired of what's happening to our state and to the people within our state. I'm running to change just about everything that they put in place these past 2 and 3 years to repeal the bail reform. A scheme to get unions to defend their push. Even unions, unfortunately, have been abused through many different processes. There's just lies and manipulation and all kinds of rhetoric that's false that creates this dynamic of push in a direction that benefits nobody but the developers and the parties that be who are pushing the agenda.
That's correct, because even the city, which had to build a $3.5 billion water filtration plant in Van Cortlandt Park because some of the city water has to be filtered, all right, they couldn't guarantee any union jobs, all right, and they couldn't guarantee local people from the Bronx getting those jobs in the Bronx where the construction was going on. They got a few jobs as security workers or 1 or 2 union jobs, but that was it, like you say. We're coming to an end of our show. I want to thank you, Samantha Zerka. Once again, please tell us what you're running for.
I am a registered independent endorsed by the Conservative Party, Republican Party. They too recognize that there's a need to band together to move our state in a more positive direction. I'm running for New York State Senate District 34. I'm a mom who's going to Albany to fight for everyone like a mother fights for her child. I promise the constituents of our community and of our state that I will never lose sight of what has happened, and I will never lose sight of each and every one of them. My office will be an open door policy. We will meet and greet monthly, and we will bring community and unity back and just, develop a coalition of New Yorkers and Bronxers that aren't going to allow Albany to ever do anything that they have done in the past couple of years to us again.
Thank you.
My internet site is Samantha Zerka at samanthazerka.com.
samanthazerka.com. Thank you. Thank you once again. Thank you, Kevin, for your comment. I'm sure you'll text me later or send me a Facebook message. And I want to thank our viewers for watching, even though we had a little technical difficulty at the beginning and during the show. I want to thank you if you stuck with us, and have a good day and have a good weekend.
Thank you for having me.
In a world where the quality of information available to poorer communities is doctored, tainted, and sometimes regressive, where the words fake news have come to mean other people's opinions, it is vital to rely on news platform with journalists who have feet on the ground and can report the truth. New York Parrot, a New York-based national and global news outlet, is changing the narratives of media operations. We focus on the news that matters, like self-empowerment, entrepreneurship, finances, health, security, politics, and more. We strive to curb violence, racial and economic discrimination, and to promote peace and socio-economic development of multiculturally diverse world. As we give voice to the people, we also give your business a voice and make it heard. Get your product and services off the ground by advertising on our fast-growing platform. With so much of daily visits to New York Parrot, you can't afford to be invisible to prospective clients on the websites they trust the most. Our posts reach millions of people across the New York State and around the world. Advertising on our new site will unlock an audience of thousands of potential customers on your doorstep. New York Parrot is born to prosperity.